If you ever felt like chasing your dreams meant sacrificing your well being, you're not alone. And today's guest has something radical to say about that. Dat Tran isn't your typical stress coach. He's a former corporate strategist, internationally recognized speaker, and the founder of thatstresscoach.com, helping high achievers build what he calls stress resiliency. Not by avoiding stress, but by mastering it. After his game changing keynote at Innovate Boise 2025, where he flipped the script on how we view ambition, pressure, and performance, we had to get him on the show. So, entrepreneurs, corporate climbers, and leaders, you're going to want to lean in for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me so much today. As mentioned, I got none other than Dat Tran joining me here today. Dat, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm excited to be here. How you doing,
Absolutely.
Gordie?
I'm doing great. Especially, I love the painting in the back. I actually was just checking out some of your social recently, and I love one of the videos that you were sharing about, you know, getting yourself in the right frame of mind, and you gave that picture as an analogy for how to exercise or rewire your brain. You'd have to train me in the terminology that you use, but that painting was used in it. So maybe we'll do an exercise here in just a bit as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. It's amazing how quickly we can just snap out of stress in 10 seconds using our surroundings. And I'm excited to kind of share more of that.
Absolutely. So, we got to cross paths not too long ago over at Innovate Boise. A few months back, we're in the new year now, technically, by the time this is out. And a couple months ago, we got to cross paths over there where you gave, a keynote presentation, and we were talking about stress, and you shared about, feeling like an imposter during your Microsoft interview, which is something that stood out to me back in your former days, and still landing a particular role. For those people that are listening to this right now and in the audience, they're straddling the line between doubt and ambition. I want to pick your brain here on what actually helped you cross that bridge internally. And maybe you can give it a little context behind what that story is about.
Yeah. When I was interviewing for Microsoft, I really had like a high belief in myself. And I had unpeccable confidence as to what I could do. And I thought to myself, if Microsoft would hire me, I would do so much. But then all of a sudden, you get to a company like Microsoft where now it's the best of the best.
Mm,
It's like you're the best of the best before coming into Microsoft, or if you're coming into the company, and now you're surrounded with people who just are shining so brightly, so smart, so capable, and it makes you feel small.
mm,
And the thing is, like, even though it made me feel small, even though it made me feel like an imposter, I never let it get to the best of me. Right. I think having that kind of mindset helped me power through all the challenges, all the chaos, all the stress that was pushed my way. And whenever I believed in my potential, whenever I believed in my ability to perform, I realized that I was able to exceed expectations and not live in stress mode. But the days that I felt small, the days that I actually let the imposter syndrome get the best of me, that's when I lived in stress mode. And I think understanding those things, understanding those patterns, and understanding my own lived experiences through all of those uphill and battles and just big, huge, I would say, overwhelm and burnout moments help
mm.
me understand stress at a deeper level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for many that are listening right now, they're likely current, or former corporate professionals they've hit burnout. Speaking of burnout, and you've lived that world. So, what would you say was your own kind of breaking point, and how did it inspire you to jump into the work that you're now doing today?
Ah, I think I had two breaking points. The first breaking point was I felt invincible. I felt like I was top of the world. I felt like I could achieve anything. And then I got into a major car accident in 2019. I had a concussion following that car accident, brain fog, couldn't think straight, maybe operating at a 60% capacity for a few months. And the imposter syndrome kicked through the roof more than ever before in that moment because I just
Mm,
wasn't able to think clearly. And then, of course, following that was the pandemic and my body wasn't even healed yet. And then I get into this point and I saw my performances dwindling. I saw my kind of stress rising over and over again. And more so than anything, I stopped believing in myself.
mm,
And in that like 1 or 2 year period of not believing in myself, I noticed Just that something just felt so wrong, right? I saw all my peers performing. I saw everyone around me doing so well. And on, the outside, I looked like I was doing great across, all of my peers. But what I started noticing was that living in stress mode was making opportunities escape me. The people that I used to be close with weren't engaging with me as much. The opportunities that my manager, the executives and other people, or even the people in my personal life would give me was kind of fleeting and so far removed. And if anything, I removed myself from those opportunities because I was already going through so much stress. Like, how do I trust myself to handle more stress? And really, the flipping point for me was probably um, closer to last year or in 2024 when I saw a really amazing keynote and this person shining so brightly on stage. And I thought to myself, what would it look like for me to shine? What would it look like for me to put myself out there? What it look
Mm.
like for me to stick my head out and say, you know what, life, whatever stress you have ready for me, I'm ready for you and I'm ready for it. Give me these opportunities. Help me understand what do I need to do to shine my light so brightly that it overrides any stress that life sends my way.
Wow.
As I started to learn how to shine, as I started to understand the neuroscience behind why we need to have that self belief, I was able to like experiment on my own life and model and create a system to help other people do the same and never settle for less ever again. And I think it's been over these last 1, 2 years that I've been able to really ride that wave. And that's how I came to do that keynote for that
Mhm.
Boise event that we were at.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. It reminds me of one of the statements that I heard you make, which was stress isn't the enemy, it's the cost of ambition, I believe is the way that it was
Yeah.
framed. How did you come to see stress in this particular paradigm, if you would, and unpack what that means?
When I first started doing this work, my main focus was to help people reduce their stress. And what I noticed in trying to help people reduce their stress is it's a myth, it's impossible. Like I might help someone reduce their stress for maybe a day, a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months while they're working with me, and then they jump right back in to
Mm,
burnout. And I kept asking myself, why? Why are people burning themselves out? Why are we as human beings burning ourselves out? And what I realized is that the number one thing that causes every single human being burnout is their own ambitions and dreams.
mm,
The higher a person's ambitions are, the more dreams they have, the more life will send the stress their way, our way, to test whether we can achieve those dreams and ambitions.
mm,
Right? If we're at work and we want to get promoted, I think working at Microsoft, one of the things that my manager used to tell me is like that, you're not going to get promoted because you're capable, you're smart, or you're delivering. You get promoted when you can prove that you can handle the pressure at the next level
mm,
without breaking. And what that truly meant for me, modeling and understanding, is that wow, in order for me to get that promotion, I have to prove that I can handle double the amount of stress.
mhm,
Because when you operate at a higher level, you're going to have more responsibilities. But that's the same. If we want to start a family, we carry the stress and ambitions of the person that we spend a lifetime with. We carry the stress and ambitions of our children. We carry the stress and ambitions of the people that we engage with. Similar, like the both of us, like we're holding support with each other's ambitions, right? And understanding that changed my life, and understanding that changed the life of so many people because now it's a switch from, oh, I'm not stressed because life is hard. I'm stressed because I'm choosing a life of ambitions and dreams and not settling for anything less.
mm.
And switching to that mindset empowers us to do something about it.
Yeah, yeah. In thinking through what you're just sharing right now, you can correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong in what I've picked up on how you break things down, but I understand you break this down into fragile versus resilient, right? It's either a fragile mindset or resilient. How does somebody even start to recognize which one that they're actually living in? And if they're in a fragile mindset and need to shift towards a resilient one so they can handle, whatever it is that they're aspiring to. How does one pick up on that?
Yeah, what I loved about that question, Gordy, is how our mind connects to our dreams and ambitions. I think the bigger ambitions we have, the more stress life is going to send our way.
Hmm.
And when we believe that we're fragile, when we believe that we're small, when we believe that we're not capable to handle that stress, our mind will get us to live in stress mode simply because, we're saying to ourselves, I'm so small, I can't handle it. So our mind says,
Hmm.
hey, you know what, Gordy, I got you. If you feel small, you can't handle it. Let me pump stress hormones throughout your entire body to get you activated and stronger and facing the situation. I'm going to put you on autopilot. I don't care if you make the right or the wrong decisions. I'm just going to make you stronger. That's kind of a fun and really relatable way to think about it, right?
Hmm.
So really, when we feel fragile, we live in stress mode. It's that simple. When we feel resilient, when we feel amazing, when we feel powerful, when we feel capable, what happens in our mind is our mind will say, you know what, Dad, he's feeling amazing right now. He's having the best day ever, and here's this catastrophic, huge event and stressful event coming his way. But he's amazing. He's powerful. I don't need to step in, and I don't need to put that in a state of stress to handle the situation because he believes he's resilient. He
Hmm.
believes he's extraordinary, right? And so the first half of how I would answer that is understanding why feeling resilient versus fragile uh, is going to help you understand your brain and stress even better. The second part of that is really about understanding that how you feel is not a reality.
Hmm.
We get to choose how we feel. We get to choose if we're feeling fragile or if we're feeling resilient. If we're feeling fragile, we know that because we live in protection mode. We're trying to protect ourselves, we're trying to protect our family. But when we live in resiliency, we live in strength and power. We're trying to do actions to make us stronger,
Hmm.
right? We're not focused on protecting, we're focused on strengthening. We're focused on stretching, we're focused on soothing, we're focused on what actions do I need to make myself more resilient to handle the situation rather than what actions do I need to take to protect myself from how hard life is.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty insightful. So your emotions don't always tell the whole story, but you have power to dictate, what that expression is, which ties into something you mentioned a minute ago, which I think I've heard you say on multiple occasions. It was actually one of the exercises that was done, and it was this expression of saying, "I am extraordinary." And it's interesting to me because, and you've probably witnessed this, I'm guessing, in the times that you've shared this on stages and whatnot, but it almost feels uncomfortable, but
Mm.
it's so essential in a way. It's empowering and kind of freeing when people do. Why do you think that, you know, affirming yourself as being extraordinary is so powerful, and why is it so uncomfortable for somebody to even say something that way about themselves?
That's a great question, Gordy. I've had a lot of thought about this. I think it comes a lot to probably culture and upbringing and depending on, how you were raised. I come from an Asian background and there's, in Asian culture, we're taught to not stick out. We're taught to be humble.
Mm,
We're taught to respect other people. We're taught to not shine our light too brightly because it makes other people feel uncomfortable.
mm,
And that's a generalization. So, of course, that's not across the board. But when we're taught and trained to be humble our entire life, we're not going to say, I'm extraordinary, I'm amazing.
mhm,
When someone gives us a compliment, I was taught that my response should be like, oh, thank you, I'm not that amazing yet.
mm.
Right. It's like almost underselling myself.
Yeah.
And for some people too, they're told that their life purpose is to make everyone else around them feel amazing, is to take care of everyone else's needs and everyone else's extraordinariness and power and beauty before they focus on their own. And
Mm,
so a lot of us haven't been taught to just put ourselves first.
mm.
And putting yourself first isn't just about you putting yourself first and screw everybody else, but it's more
Right.
about allowing us to put ourselves first next to everybody else.
Mm,
And when we're able to reclaim that, when we're able to say, I am extraordinary, I'm amazing, and I'm never going to settle for less ever again, and I don't need to do anything to be extraordinary. That's how we claim the version of ourselves that we need to achieve our wildest dreams and ambitions. Because on the other side of that, the people who get the most opportunities in life are not the people who hide away. It's the people who shine their light so brightly and believe they're so resilient that they can handle any stress that comes their way from shining. The other people are like, hey, dang, Dat and Gordie, they're shining so brightly. Like, he is so extraordinary. I need what he's having, and I need to get him on my corner, and let's do business together.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to this maybe a misconception about what humility really is, because it's really a false sense of humility when we can't receive from somebody as well. When they're noticing something maybe you didn't pick up on yourself, or maybe you did, but you're just afraid to accept it. And so I think what you're saying totally underscores that completely. For other people that are, listening to this, we're likely listening to some, we're having some people here that are aspiring entrepreneurs, or people that are jumping the corporate gig, jumping out of corporate America and stepping into entrepreneurship, where sometimes the stakes, they kind of feel even more personal when you're making that kind of a leap. How would you say that stress shows up differently for somebody in that kind of transition, and how should they be preparing, if differently at all, for that kind of a shift?
What I love about that question is really just painting this picture about how when we're in a career for so long, we build resiliency towards that career,
Hmm.
right? And the stress that comes from being in that career doesn't really bother us much anymore because we built resiliency. And that comfort zone that we have is huge. But when we jump into a new career, coming from corporate to entrepreneur, all of a sudden our comfort zone shrinks significantly because now we're put in all of these challenges that we've never experienced before. And then we start believing in ourselves, right? Or some people might start believing in themselves because they're not getting the opportunities right away.
Yeah.
And so, my advice and my insight on that is like never stop believing in yourself.
Mm,
Because when you believe in yourself, your mind will get you out of stress mode. But when you don't believe in yourself, you will live in stress mode because your mind is trying to help you. It's trying to
mhm,
help power you up. And really, rather than just believing in yourself, take micro actions, build habits, build routines to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone,
mm,
right? Because if you live in your comfort zone all the time, it's never going to grow. And as an
mhm,
entrepreneur, like this is how big your comfort zone is now. And
mhm,
then, all of a sudden your dreams and ambitions are 3 times, 4 times, 10 times the size of your comfort zone. So you have to stretch yourself and you have to do things that after the fact you say, wow, I feel amazing. I can't believe I was able to do that.
mhm,
And more so than anything, you have to train your mind to go from I can't to I can to I can make the impossible possible.
mm,
Like that is the shift that I think everyone who's leaving corporate or even in corporate, you know, to become an entrepreneur needs to have because you are jumping into a new realm of impossibilities.
yeah. Wow, that's powerful. I get to thinking of, I don't want to give the farm away here, but I want to touch base a little bit on your 5-part stress resiliency system, and you know mindset, strengthen, what is it, stretch, soothe, and release.
Mhm.
Which of those do you find that people struggle the most with in your experience, and why would that be the case? But you can also elaborate a little bit on those as well, if you'd like to.
Yeah. In my system, I talk about 5 skills that people can build to really build up stress resiliency. And I want to redefine stress resiliency. It's different from resiliency. My definition of stress resiliency is to be able to show up for life's challenges, opportunities, failures, and setbacks without experiencing the stress. Right? If you become so stress resilient, Nothing can stress you out anymore. Like, that's the goal that I'm
Mhm.
trying to help people build. And the first skill is I call stress magic. It's the ability to learn how to make stress disappear in 10 seconds. People might think that's not possible, but I promise you it is. And if time permits, we can walk through a few. The second is we need to strengthen ourselves, right? Life is completely hard. No matter where you are, what I found is life is only going to get harder tomorrow than it is today as you age and as people you love and care about age and go through challenges.
Right.
And so what we need to do is we need to strengthen our capacity to show up for hard things. We need to go and do hard things so that we can change our mindsets from life is hard to I can do hard things. It's that
Mhm.
training. And I think people are generally already doing hard things every single day. The third skill then is stretching. We need to stretch ourselves. We need to do things that are so out of our comfort zone. We need to go do things that while we're doing that, our mind is saying, you can't, you can't, you can't, this is impossible. But you do it anyways. You show up for it anyways. It's not about failing and succeeding. It's about stepping out of the door, like going outside and making this attempt and then celebrating yourself afterwards. So that over time you can prove to your mind that you can change your mindset to say, "I can't," to "I can make the impossible possible."
Mhm.
The fourth skill is soothing. The reality is, when we stretch ourselves, we push ourselves to our edge, and that's a really hard way to live. I think a lot of people live on the edge all the time,
Yeah.
and that causes them to be either really heated or really numb, right? Like, you don't wanna be hot all the time, or you don't wanna be numb because now you can't feel the stretch because you're being stretched all the time. So we need to learn how to self-soothe. And self-soothe is really about transforming our mindset from I have to keep going and doing and achieving to I can be present. It's about recognizing when we're running hot and cooling ourselves down to room temperature. And
Mhm.
it's about recognizing when we're cold and numb and warming ourselves back up so that we can be in a place of harmony. And then finally, the last skill is release. I learned this lesson the hard way. I think we all got spoiled by the pandemic. We would go to work and maybe work from home, and then when we finish work, we would go straight to our family, and then we carry all of our stress home with us. And so the fifth skill, the final skill of release, is we have to learn how to release stress. Instead of going straight from home to work to home, how do we spend 15 minutes to recognize the stress that we're holding in our body and releasing it and saying goodbye? I don't need you. I want to be present with my family without you in my life.
Hmm.
And these 5 skills help people build a stress resiliency. And the number one skill that I think people have the biggest challenge with is the life changing one is soothing. Most people rely on other people to soothe them without the
Mhm.
ability to soothe ourselves. And so by learning how to self soothe, we learn how to regulate our mind and our body to a place of harmony so that we can operate at our best without making mistakes. Because with soothing, it's kind of like if we run hot all the time, we burn everyone else around us. And then we have to pay and make up time for the mistakes that we made. And
Yeah.
so self-soothing is like installing a proper air conditioning and heater inside of our own bodies so, we can be comfortable. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I would love to ask you, like, which of those 5 skills do you think, you would benefit from the most in this part of your
Yeah.
life?
Well, I would say right away that the thing that stood out to me was the soothing piece of it because I think it's looked at as a weakness
Mm,
when for those that are, entrepreneurs, let's say, or in the corporate world still, they can appreciate that it actually is strategy. It actually is being able to, detect or determine where you're at and being able to address it properly does help you become a more what's the word I'm looking for? Effective version or optimal version, excellent version of who you are. And so there's really not a need to feel weird about it or guilt towards it. It's kind of what I think.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I
You know,
for me with ADHD, I think I'm always running hot. I'm always running go mode.
mhm,
And what I realize is that when I'm always in go mode, I can't be present, and I end up making mistakes. And so learning how to self-soothe has been the most powerful transformation personally for me to allow myself to be present for the people and activities and dreams that I care most about.
yeah, yeah, I can imagine too. You know, because you said it's only 10 seconds, right? That somebody could actually figure some of this out with
Mhm.
the stress magic component of it. I'd like to pop into that because somebody's listening to it. They're probably like, I'm stressed out to the max right now, especially during the holidays, going into a new year, etc. Let's have you walk us through stress magic.
Awesome. So let's do skill number one, stress magic. It's really understanding how the mind works. So I'll talk about the science and let's do the activities. So when we're living in stress mode all the time, our mind is trained to look for stress. And what happens is that if our mind is training for look for stress, what happens is that our mind will put us in stress mode to protect ourselves from stress, which is kind of ridiculous, right?
Hmm.
If we're feeling fragile, if we're feeling small, if we're not feeling capable, if we feel the world around us is unsafe, or that the people around us are out to harm us or cause us stress, or that we need to protect these people, we live in stress mode. And what a lot of people don't realize is that their mind is forcing them to live in stress mode to protect ourselves from the world. And so, stress magic is really understanding how to shift yourself out of stress mode and into a place of resiliency and extraordinariness in just 10 seconds. And I've taught this to so many people, and it's worked every single time. So, let's do an example. Gordy, and for all of our listeners, I would love for you to think about something that stresses you out. And don't need to share it, but just let me know when you have it, Gordy. You
Yep.
got it? Cool. All right. So I want you to take a single breath, just one breath. Now I want you to rub your hands together. Rub your hands together as if though your hands are the most extraordinary hands in this world. Your hands have helped so many people. Your hands have healed. Your hands have problem solved and really done so much good in the world. And just notice how, just rubbing your extraordinary hands together makes you feel. Hmm. So, Gordy, where did your stress go?
It went to a place that I don't have anymore.
You don't have any more, right?
No.
That's amazing. And the quick snippet there is that you notice that your mind was hyper focused on stress, but just
Yep.
taking one breath grounds you in the moment. And one breath tells your mind, hey, you know what? There's stress going on, but we're just going to focus right here, right now. One breath is the anchor. Hyper focusing on anything for 10 seconds switches your mind and distracts, almost tricks your mind to
Mm,
focus on something else.
yeah.
And then tuning in to the extraordinariness in your own body tells your mind, hey, mind, my hands, my body, it's so powerful. It's so amazing. We got this. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden, it's a boost of confidence. It's
Yeah.
almost like a sense of self trust. And so I want to do two more,
Hmm.
actually, three more. If that's all right. And
Hmm.
we'll do this back to back. So, Gordy, let's take a breath. What's one thing extraordinary about me?
Your personality.
Personality. What's so amazing about my personality?
That you have this light about you that makes people want to engage with you and know more about you.
It's amazing. What's extraordinary about you is just your smile, your presence. It's like your curiosity is just powerful. Take another breath. What's one extraordinary thing about your surroundings? Or what's one object in your surrounding and what's extraordinary about it?
I'd say my fridge over here is extraordinary because it gives me the things that I need to rejuvenate myself.
It's amazing. So now let's take one final breath. What's extraordinary about you?
My desire to love on people.
Desire to love on people. Is your stress still around?
Nope.
No. What happened is that there are four different perspectives. When we tune in to the extraordinariness about our body, it trains our mind to say, my body is powerful, it can handle anything. When we look for the extraordinariness in another human being, we train our mind to switch from this person is out to harm me or stress me to this person is so amazing, they're extraordinary, they're beautiful, and they can handle whatever stress that that is needed in the moment. When we
Mm,
look for the extraordinariness and the beauty around us, the trees, the skies, the painting, even this lamp or fridge in our surroundings, we train our mind to say, you know what, the world isn't dangerous. The world is surrounded by beautiful things. And then when we take time to get over that imposter, get over that, like like not be able to compliment ourselves and say, I'm extraordinary and here's why. We train our mind to say, you know what, I'm an extraordinary person and I got this.
Mhm.
And that powerful shift allows us to go from a place of fragility to a place of resiliency in just 10 seconds.
Mhm. That's
Mm,
awesome. No, thank you for walking us through that because that definitely helped me, and I'm sure it's helping somebody else who intentionally actually took that into practice and exercised it themselves.
yeah.
I wanna bring us to land the plane, if you would, a little bit here and
Yeah.
ask you a question that is stuck with me, and I'm sure other people have maybe marinated on this themselves, and that's about developing this type of resiliency that can help somebody feel unstoppable. Like when I think of the word unstoppable, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty amazing to think that, man, could I literally become unstoppable in whatever it is that I'm doing and who I'm becoming? And if that's the case, like who wouldn't want to be able to get there? Who wouldn't want to overcome whatever it is they need to in order to get to that place of unstoppability, if that's a word? I wanna
Mhm.
ask you yourself though, and flip the script a little bit on your next stretch, because I know that you're constantly stretching yourself too, and the dream that maybe you're working on right now and working toward. What would that be for you?
The hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life was to become a content creator. I tried to stop posting on social media back in must have been March or April, and I didn't get very far. There's these all these thoughts of, are people gonna like me? Am I gonna be good enough? Is my content gonna resonate with people? Make me feel like an imposter. I see all these amazing creators, and I'm like, I don't know if I can be as good as them, or I don't know if I have it in me to be cringe to make it that far. And so I gave up for half a year. I put it aside so I can focus on anything. I wouldn't say I gave up, but in my mind was telling me, I can't, I can't, I
Mm,
can't, I can't. You're never going to be a creator. You're never going to be an influencer. Which is ridiculous because I can transform someone's life in a keynote, in a coaching, in a one-to-one coffee chat. But if I can do that, why can't I do social media?
mhm,
And so this last month, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to post every single day for 30 days, and I have. I think I'm three-fourths of the way there. And what that's helping me do is all of those mindsets that told me that I can't, I've been breaking every single one of them. And in the last 30 days, last 21 days, I've proven to myself that, wow, I'm unstoppable.
mm,
Like if I can put myself in social media, if I can learn, if I can grow, if I can, influence and inspire someone in just 1 minute, in just 7 seconds, right? Do 7-second clips, what can't I do? And so, what I tell myself and everybody else is that if you want to become unstoppable, find the hardest thing that you can ever dream of doing and go out and do it and celebrate yourself for trying,
mm,
regardless of how far you succeed. And I'm going to grow to be a gigantic content creator, an influencer that's going to go change the world. And I think putting myself out there, being cringe, doing things that bring me extreme discomfort, while of course soothing myself along the way, has
mhm.
helped me transform my mind to believe that I can make anything possible. And I'm unstoppable, like you said.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, thank you so much for sharing that. That's encouraging to me too. I feel jacked up right now.
Let's
I hope
do it.
everybody else, yeah, I hope everybody else is too. Dat, this has been a complete honor and a privilege getting to pick your brain and learn some of your insights and really take what you're sharing into practice. And I'm sure others are as well. For those that are listening and would like to learn a little bit more about you, who you are, what we just talked about, but maybe on an expansive scale here, where can they find you at?
Find me on social media. Find me on TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn at Dat Stress Coach. I'm here to remind you that you are extraordinary, you're resilient, and when you put your mind to it, when you learn how to put your mind to it, you can make your wildest dreams and ambitions come true. And
Right.
I'm going to help you do that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Deb. I appreciate you a ton.
Thanks, Gordie. I appreciate you too, brother.
Get it.